Well, thank you guys for being here. I know this is a rescheduled call and it's during the day, but actually, we have a lot of people on. So thank you guys for making this work. Maybe the lunch hour is a good time in the summer. But we are lucky today to have Zach Bradley, our president, talking to us and sharing his words of wisdom. So I sent him a few questions and I think he's going to go through some of those. But if you guys have questions as we talk, just use the chat or you can unmute at the end and we can go over some Q&A stuff too. Does that sound good, Zach?
That sounds awesome. Awesome, awesome,
Okay.
awesome. And Jen, all I can say is you look like you are living your best life right now. So you keep that up. Oh, who else is at the pool? Rachel's at the pool. We got a few people at the pool today. That's good. We like that. Yeah, obviously, if there's any questions, I'm going to be reading the chat. I'll do my best, obviously, with 4, 8, 12, 15 of us. There shouldn't go too fast. So if there's any questions, obviously just come up. I'm trying to have my normal energy. So if you don't see it today, that's why, but I'm going to do my very, very best. And sometimes it just gets going. And, we'll get there. But I was actually really, really excited when Katie and Monica asked me to jump on this call. Oh boy, a few weeks ago. I was really excited about it. Because I love jumping on with their team. I think you guys, especially with the leadership part of this team, and you guys obviously who are on this call today make up a big part of that. And the reality is that I think now is probably the most important time to show our leadership than ever before in our 5.5 years that we've been in business. I think leadership is probably the one key determining factor for what's going to happen over the next 2 years. And that's actually of the questions I've got. The next number one is, where do you see our company in 2 years? And then kind of some ones after that. And so I'll talk a little bit about that first, because I think that it's a little bit easier to talk to you guys as leaders than where sometimes it's a new rep or somebody that hasn't hit a rank yet, or they're just kind of their mindset's a little bit different. But everybody that's on this call today, in the middle of the summer on a Monday afternoon, you're on this call because you guys want to do something. You want to be more successful. You want to grow your team. You guys want to get more out of this. And you want to be constantly living your best life, whether it's at the pool, whether it's in San Diego, whether it's at the, wherever it is. That's what this is about. It's about, I think for so many people, and we've talked about this so much, it's never about money. You guys probably know a number of people that have tons of money, yet they're working 80 hours a week, right? They're working 6 days a week. They're never home. They never see their kids. They never go on vacation. I think what we're talking more than anything is, and I know it's kind of that cliche, but it's living your best life. It's living with time freedom to do the things you want to do, where you want to do it, when you want to do it, with whom you want to do it. That is what this is about. And so there's no two ways about it. These last 4 or 5 months throughout the world in a lot of different ways has been really tough. There's been a lot of struggles, a lot of challenges, a lot of frustrations, not only here at Zaya, but a lot of different places. And I think you can see it every which way, whether you're watching the news, whether you see it on social media, it is negative, 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 negative everywhere you look. However, I think it's, I think I talked about this a couple of weeks ago on a call where I think it's human nature sometimes to play kind of defensive, kind of react to the way the world is. And it was easy to do that coming into March, coming into April, coming into May, because there were so many unknowns with inflation, with gas prices, with the war, with stock and inventory and all these different things. It was very easy to be reactive in these situations. Like, I'm going to wait and see what happens. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with the recession. I don't know what's going on with the stock market. These are things that we can't control. And it was very easy. I think all of us, to be honest, did. I think as a company, we were kind of waiting to see what happens. It was a wait and see moment for us. I think as leaders, we were kind of doing it. But as we jumped into June and kind of went through March, April, May, which are typically really strong months for us, it wasn't as strong as it had been every other year. And we're like, well, I think it's the moment to stop being reactive. And I think it's a moment to be proactive. And I think it's a moment where if we want to get to where we know we can be 2 years from now, we have to stop sitting back and waiting for the world to tell us what we're going to do and being reactive to that and kind of deciding how we work depending on what they do. And it's a moment to be proactive. And I think from the company side, hopefully you guys have seen that that's the approach we've really taken this month is, we know without a doubt that the Light and Tide is the best legging out there. There is not a legging that I would put that legging up with any legging out there. And that's the whole reason we were doing these bundles. It was funny because we had a couple people that, overwhelmingly, when overwhelmingly, it was over 99% of the comments we got back was very positive about the bundles. But a couple people were like, hey, are you guys doing this because you guys have too much inventory and you need to sell out? It's like, guys, I promise you, inventory is not anything we're worried about. We want to make sure our biggest thing is we understand how amazing these products are, and more than any of them, we understand how the light and tight can change people's lives, and it's our job to be proactive and actually start reaching out to people and getting these into people's hands. I've told this story a number of times now, but when we had the really, really, really well-educated analyst from the bank that came and met with us back in May. Question number one was, hey, how are you guys feeling? We're like, well, we actually feel pretty good. We're in a good spot where a lot of companies, whether they're not in a growth phase or whatever it is, they overspend and now they're looking either for bank debt, they're looking for, they might be a bankruptcy. Like there's all these things that they don't know how to control. The good thing about Zaya is that from day one, we said we're going to be profitable, whether we do $1 in sales or $1 billion in sales. That's number one for us, is because we never want to be at the mercy of anybody else, whether it's the banks, whether it's stockholders. Like we just want to be able to control the company. So first, in that sense, we feel very good. And second, we know that, we knew during COVID, we knew during that 2-year period that there was going to be a softening of the growth. We knew that was going to happen. We just didn't know when or how it was going to happen, but we know we're there. And they say, here's the thing. And I know this may be repetitive, but I think it's very important for you guys to understand where our 2-year plan is from now and where we see ourselves, is that they were very, 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 they wanted to make sure we knew without a doubt that we were in the perfect sector. They knew that athleisure wasn't going anywhere. They knew activewear wasn't going anywhere. They knew direct sales wasn't going anywhere. Direct to consumer wasn't going anywhere. Like all of these things that we have that took us to where we got to in 5 years, they're not going anywhere. Now, during a few months, there's going to be a lull, and that's what we're seeing right now. But again, we are seeing so much more action and activity and proactivity over the last 4 weeks than we had seen in a long, long time. It was kind of getting back to like, hey, I'm going to get these light and tights out there. I'm going to let people, I'm going to do these referral posts, or I'm going to all these different things that we hadn't been doing for a long time because of COVID or because of the recession or whatever it is, all these different things that we were being reactive about. Now we're able to do it. And that's where these last 4 weeks have been very eye-opening for us as a company. I think they've been very eye-opening for us to see really what we're capable of doing on a small scale and taking it to the next level. And I think that's where I see ourselves, in 2024, 2025, is really making sure that people are able to, whether, if parties aren't working, maybe people have party burnout, or the analytics on Facebook or the algorithms on Facebook aren't working like they used to. Like those, the great thing is Katie just puts there, people are innovating. And that's the thing, is I think it's very important that over these next 2 years, that as we continue to innovate and as we continue to look at the different ways that we can grow our business, at the end of the day, we're sharing an incredible opportunity with so many people and an incredible community. And that's where we need to make sure we're focusing on that and not being reactive to what's happening around us. And I think that's where, as I look at us, 2 years from now, I honestly think that a couple of different things. One, we will have opened a couple more markets internationally, but that will come within time. But I think as a company, I see ourselves with the kind of in a much more solid place in terms of the known of where we're going, if that makes sense. I still think a lot of people right now, and that's the thing, is where I've been around this industry for so long, and I'm only 40, I guess I'm 41 this year, but I've seen really, really, really impressive companies that have failed, but I've also seen companies that persevere. And I think that the most important thing, and if there's one common denominator in any company that perseveres, is leadership. And that's where I go back to where leadership becomes the number one important factor of where we're going to be at in 2 years. That's not to say that we haven't had people that are like, this isn't for me, this is too hard, or I just don't see it. And that's totally fine. Maybe they don't see our vision, and that's totally fine. But overwhelmingly, you see the number of leaders, whether it's an executive or a director or a Zaya executive, Zaya presidential, our leadership is intact, and they trust in us, and they know that, through the good and the bad times, we are going to continue to grow. This community isn't going anywhere as long as we keep doing what we're supposed to do, and that is to share this amazing community and this amazing product with people as much as we can, instead of sitting back and letting those people come to us. I think it's kind of it's a really important thing for us to remember, that people want something more in their lives. They just don't know where to find it a lot of times. And even when we share that with them, when we share what we have with them, a lot of times they're still going to say, this isn't for me, because they don't really know. And that's okay. It's our job, and it's our it's for us to go out and continue to share that message with them over and over and over again. And hopefully when they're like, you know what, let me try that light. You know, I know I just keep seeing these amazing pictures. I keep seeing these, you know, a year ago it wasn't for me, but maybe it is for now. Guys, I know this sounds cliche. I know we talk about it over and over again, but there is no better time for people to be looking for a second income than when times are hard. And I still think through March, April, May, and even to now, there's still a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of fear of like, I'm not spending a dime because I don't know what's going on with gas prices, inflation, the war, like I still don't know. But I promise you, if we are in the right, if we put ourselves in the right position to be there for when people are like, you know what, I do need a second income. I do need something. I do need a side gig because inflation's hurting my family and now I can't afford the things I was able to afford a year ago. As long as we've done our job and we've gone and presented to them and reached out to them and talked to them about the opportunity, or reached out to them about hosting a party where they can earn a few extra $100, whatever it is, guys, it's our job to put ourselves in that position. If we don't do that, then when that time comes where they're looking for something, they're going to go find it somewhere else and not with us. And that's on us to make sure that we're doing our part. And that's where I've been so excited to see in June, totally different from March, April, May. In June, I've seen that once again, where we're actually going out there, we're being proactive, we're talking to people, we're sharing the product, we're sharing the opportunity. And I think that you'll see June and July are typically the slowest months of the year. They are. That's when, you know, obviously people are on vacation. They're at soccer tournaments or they're doing this, they're on vacation. That's normal. But actually this June has been probably the most fun for me to watch and see kind of the real capability that we have as a company, the capability that we have as leaders to go out and do something different. And that's where I'm so excited for June and July, where we can continue to, I think that we will continue to have the bundles next month as well. I think it's been a really successful thing where we want to make sure people can continue to hand those out, well, not hand them out, but get those out into people's hands, do the referral posts, do the things that they need to do to make sure that we're doing that. But at the same time, it really sets us up perfectly for August, September, October, November, which are going to be really, really important for the next 2 years. Now, if we want to talk about those next 2 years, these 4 months coming up in August, September, October, November are going to be crucial. But if we aren't doing the things now to put ourselves up for that, for success in those months, if we're waiting for August to really start working, I promise you it's not going to come. We are up 8% over May, which is the first time we've grown in a number of months, which is huge. I mean, obviously, and again, you guys know we're transparent. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I've never been that person. You guys know, you guys see your numbers, but it's been great to see this month where we're getting more product out there. The new releases on Wednesday, you know, sometimes too fast, but they're selling quicker. There's urgency out there. We're getting these things out there. And I think as long as we put ourselves out there in the right position for when people are ready to start looking for a second income, then we've done our job and we'll be able to do that the right way. And that's what's so exciting for making sure that August and throughout the end of the month is really, really, really exciting. And I still think, you know, we go back and forth. Like, we know we're not perfect. I know that there are times like, well, you know, what if this worked? We will continue to work with our leaders and with you guys to come up with whatever the best is at every given time, the best strategy to grow your business. Sometimes that is, you know, an extra $500 a month bonus to do this, or sometimes it's a 5-month promotion to do that. Whatever it is, just know that we're not set in stone with anything. We will always be, I think that kind of sets us apart from a lot of companies, is that we're very agile that way, that we listen and we're like, okay, hey, guys, this didn't work. We're not married to it. That's okay. This one does. Let's work on this. And you guys as leaders have been very, very good about that type of feedback. We've got such positive, good, hardworking leaders that work directly with the company, and that's you guys. And that's what makes it so exciting, or gets us so excited for the next few months in our growth. So long answer to short question, where do I see us in 2 years? I see us honestly going through this lull. I think that lull has kind of hit rock bottom. I guess that's a hard word. I don't like to use that because it's a negative connotation, but the reality is you hit it at some point. And I think that's where May was. And I think June, July, August, September, October, November is really where we start to take off. And I see ourselves in 2 years close to double where we are now. I really do. I still think it'll be a while till we get our COVID highs. Those were some really, really good months. I don't know, it may take 3 or 4 years to get to where we were at, but as long as we grow solidly, I'd rather be there. There's not a company in the world right now that hasn't gone through ups and downs. There's not the biggest companies in the world go through them. It's the ones that are set up properly that come through those even more successful than they ever were before. And I think that's where we are 2 years from now. I think that's where we will be. What I'm most excited about, sorry, now I'm going through, I taking so long on the first question. I got to make sure I get through the next ones a little bit quicker. And again, if there's any questions, let me know. Okay, if extend bundles, is it possible to mix and match the colors? Yeah. So I think you'll start seeing that, Gene. I think you'll start to see maybe a couple different light and tights in there. I think you'll start to see maybe some tanks, some more bras. Like we'll try to mix it up a little bit so there's more options for the bundles for sure. Yeah, that was actually one of the things that we wanted to do from the very beginning was that. But what we wanted to we didn't want to create that feeling of panic, like, oh my gosh, everything's, on sale, what's going on. And so we wanted to really make sure that the reasoning we were doing these bundles was put in place first, and then we could kind of play with the bundles and go from there to make sure that you guys understand the reasoning and what we're doing. It's not to buy a legging at $20 and sell it for 25. No. That does nobody any good. That doesn't do you any good. That doesn't do the company good, the value of the product. Like that doesn't do us any good. It's why we're doing it and how we do it. What am I most excited about for the future of Zaya? To be honest, and I know this sounds maybe, I'm competitive. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but I'm really excited to be able to kind of sit atop the mountain with those that trusted in us. There are some of those that did not, and were like, hey, this wasn't for me, this is too hard, and they've left, and that's okay. I can tell you that 2 years from now, when we are where we know we can be with you guys as leaders and those that are like, you know what, through the good and the bad, I'm with Zaya. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be able to be together with you guys and to have those moments of success where, knowing the hard times we went through in 2022, going through those hard times and knowing like, hey, through the good and the bad, we're going to do this together. I think there's frustrating times for sure, but I have no doubt that the world, guys, there's no way that this is going to be the world for the next 2 years. It just can't. Like at some point, people have to start spending money. At some point, people have to start looking for a second income. At some point, it all comes back, and we're seeing that flip right now. And that's why I say our growth over the last month is we're finally growing for the first time in a number of months. Which for us, for the first 5 months, there was never months we didn't grow, and so it was very new to us. And again, and it was very evident for when we've gone through this hard time. It's like, okay, these are the ones that were just here and didn't really trust in us, and that's okay. And I know that sounds childish. I don't want it to come across that way. I know where we're going, and I know what we're going to be able to do as a team and as leaders, and to do this together, and to have come through the hardest time we've ever had to go through, and to come out on top. For me, that's really special. And that's not for us. That's just to be able to celebrate with you guys as leaders, to say, yeah, it sucked for a while. It was really hard, but guess where we're at now? We're back on the beach. We're sipping pina coladas. We're having a good time. Like that for me is going to be really, really special. What do our reps do really well? I think, and I've talked about this from the very beginning, I think for anybody that's been in network marketing companies before, direct sales companies before, I think what our reps do really, 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 really well, probably better than any other company or any company I've seen or that I've been a part of, is honestly trusting the process, not panicking, or trying to do new systems every month or two. Like, oh, this didn't work, now we're gonna do something completely different. Now, that doesn't mean we don't do tweaks and we do little things here and there, but guys, we have a team of such positive, amazing reps from day one. I can tell you, it was fun, because I know there's certainly some of you guys that have been on this that are on this call that have prior experience in direct sales, but it took us, I think, 1.5 years maybe to get leaders that kind of came from other companies like me. For the first little while, everybody that we had, and that's not to say everybody, but a lot of the people, most of it was just people that had never done network marketing. And I think when you get that, a lot of times it gives you kind of the capability to build your culture the right way. And I think what we've been able to create with our reps, and this isn't just what Aaron or Brenda or myself or Jeremiah or the team here has created, the culture that has been created with you as reps. And that, I think, at the end of the day, is the thing I'm most proud of, and the thing I love most about our reps is this culture that we built together. It's a culture of amazing people that I can tell you that, guys, when I was at prior companies, I dreaded going to work half the time, because the calls I would have to have with people that are just constantly, they're upset, they're complaining, they're this and that, and they're divas, and it was miserable. I love my job. Like, to be honest, like, where the fact that I do have this stuff like fluid, I'm in San Diego, I'm still on this call because I love it. Like, if it's the hardest part of my job, then I'm certainly doing something right, because I get to work with you guys as reps. And I think that the positivity and the community that has been built with the reps, like, everybody knows, I mean, in every company, you're gonna have people that work. In every company, you're gonna have people that are successful. But I think we've been able to get successful the right way with the right reps. And that's what I think I love the most, is that we just do it the right way. And our reps have always done it the right way. We don't, I think it's very, very, very hard. It's not to say it doesn't happen, but guys, I see it every day where there's a leader from a certain group that's doing a call for another sideline. Like they have no financial reason to do any of these calls, and yet we do it. And I see it every day over and over and over. And that for me is amazing, that we are a family that helps each other. And I think that's really, I don't take that lightly. I think you'd be surprised how often that doesn't happen. And it's very, very rare that it does happen where you get companies that can work so tightly together with no financial benefit of helping others out. So I think that's pretty incredible. Your experience with other companies when there is a slow period, what helps? Patience. I mean, honestly, I think that's the biggest answer, is that not panicking, right? We know that there's going to, I mean, guys, the biggest company in the world, Amazon, they're going through a tough spell. The biggest companies in the world, Tesla, like you guys, it's nothing that anybody's doing wrong. It's just the way the world is right now. It's nothing that you're doing wrong or that we're doing wrong. I think the biggest thing that we need to make sure we understand is, as long as I'm patient, I don't panic, I keep doing the system, we're doing our things with the bundles, we're going to throw more promotions out, like we'll do our side and we'll work together with you guys to create those. But the easiest thing in the world to do is give up. Like that's super easy, but it's not easy to be successful, to be at the top, to do what we want to do. No, it shouldn't be easy. Everybody would do it. Like to get where every one of you guys wants to get to, it's going to take hard work. It's going to take effort. It's going to take patience. It's going to take, and maybe for good or for bad, it was really easy during COVID to get sales and to be successful. I don't want to say it was the easiest thing in the world, but it was certainly easier than it is now. But I promise you that Brendan, my kids make fun of me all the time because I use the word baffling. They're like, "You're the only one I ever hear that uses the word baffling. Why do you use it so much?" It's baffling to me that people are willing to, and you guys know, I've shared this with you guys all the time, like realistic expectations. It's baffling to me where people are willing to go to medical school and for 10 or 15 years, they're willing to go to, law school or all these different things, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, all the money that they sacrifice, the time that they sacrifice, their, all these different things. And then they start making money years and years down the road. But after 90 days or 120 days of without growth or without seeing the success they wanted to, it's like, oh, it was a pyramid scheme, or it wasn't the right thing. Like why are we so easy to give up on our dreams after 3 months or 4 months when we know that it does take time? I mean, sometimes it takes 3 or 4 years, but guess what? Even if it does take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years to find a residual income that lasts the rest of your life, is that not worth it? So why is it so easy for us to sometimes like, oh, I'm just, this isn't for me, I'm not seeing the success I wanted to. One of our very top Doubles Eye executives, and I think they probably have the most PV in the history of the company. I won't name them by name, but it took them 10 months to sign up their first rep. 10 months. You know how easy it would have been after 3 months to just give up and say, you know what, this isn't for me, or 6 months, or not. Like, I get it. But they're like, nope, I know this is it. I know this is where I'm supposed to be. And I think as long as we have realistic expectations that not every month is going to be growth, and that there are going to be good times and bad times, I still go back to say, you know what, what's amazing is that we did have that time during COVID where we were all very, very, very blessed. Like, there are millions of people in the US that were not blessed. They lost their job, they were furloughed. Like, let's take that as a positive, say, hey, we were blessed. How amazing. Now, my group is still bigger than it was before COVID. Now I'm going to grow it from there. Like, let's look at it from a positive way and say, I'm still bigger. My group's still bigger than it was 2 years ago, where a lot of companies went bankrupt. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people couldn't do things. I went through an incredible growth cycle, and I'm still bigger than I was before that. So 2 really big positives. Now I go from there and I go from here. And that's, I think, the biggest thing, that we need to make sure our expectations are real, that we know what it's going to take, and that we do it. And we're proactive over the next few months to make sure that through the end of the year, we're really where we want to be. And the last question on here, how do we motivate our teams when we're going through the hard times? I guess I kind of answered. I think the biggest thing is, I think our expectations of what success is and how long it takes or how easy it is, I think that's the biggest thing is you guys from leaders and you guys being the examples of, and I think you guys have done an incredible job this month of showing that example of getting the bundles, being proactive, kind of throwing it out there, putting out the referral posts, or just getting people to try the light tights, or letting people know that there are, there's going to be tough months. And I think the realistic expectations of what it takes to be successful, you guys as leaders are going to be the ones that are teaching those teams. If it's somebody that hasn't been successful in the last 4 or 5 months, I get it. That's going to be hard. You guys have had to go through that. But I think that the biggest thing for you guys to do is to not lose focus of why we're here, and to not lose focus of, whether it takes another 3 years to get to where I want to be, or whether it takes another 4 years. This isn't something that takes 90 days. And I think that's the biggest, most important thing that we talk about with our teams is through the good and through the bad, we persevere. Through the good and through the bad, we are here. And just take those 2 years of COVID and kind of, I don't want to throw them out the door, but just take them as a huge bonus that we got. And our groups are still bigger than we were pre-COVID. Like, if we look at it that way, every one of you guys would have said on March 15th, 2020, when we were all seriously sitting, we sat in our conference room saying, we think we're going to be down half next month and probably another half the month after. Like, are we prepared for this? We are. And if you would have come into that office and said, hey, would you guys take it to say that you guys are going to grow 500% over a 2-year period, and then it's going to drop back after COVID, but you're going to still be up double on your COVID numbers after that? Would you take it? Every single day, no question asked. The problem is that we've gone through such huge growth, and we were so blessed that when we get back to these normal numbers of kind of, plus you have the recession, all these different things, like there's not a company out there that's hugely successful right now other than maybe tourism, maybe the airline industry, just because maybe gas stations, nobody is going through huge growth right now. There's not a company out there. So as long as we understand that, I feel very blessed for what we went through. I know that was an interesting part of the world, or part of my life, and I'm not worried. Like, COVID's over. Now I got to focus on where I'm at now. I'm going to grow from here. And as long as we have the expectations that this is kind of our base now, our baseline of where we're going, I don't think anybody can come out of this being mad. I don't think anybody can come out and be frustrated. It's like, okay, great. This is where I'm at. And this is where we grow from. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that we understand what it's going to take, and we understand that we have to be proactive. We have to go out and do things that we didn't have to do for a couple of years. It's going to be harder, but I promise you, it's going to be so much sweeter when it does come, and it's going to come. I guarantee you that. And those that are with us and trust in us and have faith in us and want to lock arms with us, we're here to do it. Through the stomach flu or not, we're here. I don't know if you guys can see it, like I'm sweating like crazy. I think I've got a little bit of fever maybe. But just know that we are so excited for the future. It's so much fun to finally see a little bit of that traction coming back, and to see where things are a little bit different. And I promise you, there's every single day when we talk about the future, the number one question is, how does this affect our reps? It's not, how does this affect Aaron and Jeremiah and Zach and Brenda? It's not, how does this affect our corporate team? Number one is, how does this affect our reps? Is it a negative? Is it a positive? Great, it's a positive. Okay, now how does this affect the company? Can we do it? Great, let's do it. And I think you'll start to see that. Again, we're not perfect and we make mistakes here and there. And I can tell you that overwhelmingly we try to do, or we do the right thing. And when we do that, we try to capitalize on it. I think that's what you'll see over the next few months. So with that, are there any other questions I can answer for you guys? And I apologize, my energy is not at the top of its game today, but just know that we do appreciate you guys, and we love you guys, and we appreciate all that you guys do.
I think your energy was awesome. You did a great job. The thing that I loved the most was that now is when you have to be really disciplined and put in the work so that you can capitalize on what's going to come as a growth period this fall. Because if you take now off, then you're going to be behind when it's ready for that. So I love that. I love the reminder of the discipline we need to have and patience. I think this team is really good about being disciplined. So we just have to remind our teams of that. But no, Zach, you did really great. I couldn't even tell you were sick.
Oh, that's a good thing. I hope, I don't know if, I honestly don't even know what you guys can hear around me. I got my AirPods in. If there's a bunch of kids running around in the pool, I don't even know. But yeah, I don't want to be repetitive, but Katie, you're exactly right. Like, guys, I know we talk about it over and over and over and over again, but I think repetition is the best way of learning. Guys, there is no better time. If we want to grow in the fall, which I hope, I mean, the fact that you're on this call today, like I said, in the middle of July, July, whatever it is, in the middle of June, on a Monday, whether you're at the pool, whether you're at your home office, wherever you're at, it means you want to be successful. You're on this call for a reason. You want to achieve something, and it's so important that we take June and July and we enjoy our summers. We're with our kids, or we're with whoever, whatever we're doing, we enjoy it, but we do not, we don't just completely forget about our business. And if we do that, I promise you, it's so much harder to get it back in August, September, October. Those that put in the time in June and July are always more successful in the fall months. There's no question. There is certainly discipline there. It's not easy, but it's so worth it. So thank you again, Monica, Katie, thank you guys. Thanks to all of you guys as leaders for jumping on. It's always a pleasure. And you guys know I will jump on anytime.
Thank you, Zach. I hope you feel better. Good luck to your kiddos in their competitions.
Thank you guys.
Thanks,
Have a good one.
everybody. Have a
Bye.
good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.